What if there was a secret formula for success? Not just a theory, but a real, practical formula passed down from one of the richest men in history, and it's been hiding in plain sight for almost 100 years. Well, back in 1937, Napoleon Hill published Think and Grow Rich, a book that came out of a 20-year project he did for the industrialist Andrew Carnegie. His mission? Uncover that exact formula and share it with the world. So let's follow the breadcrumbs Hill left for us and figure out this secret together.
Now here's the catch, and this is what makes the book so fascinating. Hill never actually names the secret. Not once. He says it's mentioned over 100 times, but he intentionally leaves it for you, the reader, to discover on your own. He believed it was way more powerful that way, that it's just sitting there, waiting for the people who are truly ready to see it.
Right. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's exactly what we're going to answer. We're going to piece together all the clues that Hill scattered throughout the book and finally lay out the powerful process that's at the very heart of Think and Grow Rich.
All right, to crack this code, we have to start right where Hill and Carnegie say to start. This is the absolute foundation, the essential starting point for any and all achievement. This is our first big clue.
You see, according to Hill, the journey to wealth doesn't start with money, or knowing the right people, or even having a killer idea. Nope, it all starts with a very specific, very powerful state of mind. And he tells this incredible story about a man who literally thought his way into a partnership with one of the greatest inventors of all time.
So, the very first piece of this secret is what Hill calls a burning desire. And there's really no better example of this than a young guy named Edwin C. Barnes. He had one single, all-consuming goal: to become the business partner of the great Thomas Edison. Think about the obstacles here. Barnes had no money. He didn't know Edison from Adam, but to him, those were just minor details. His desire was so intense that he hopped a freight train, a blind baggage car, to get to New Jersey and just showed up at Edison's lab ready to make it happen. He wanted to work with Edison, not just for him.
And Edison, he was a master at reading people. He saw it immediately. He said this guy looked like a tramp, but there was something in his eyes, a look of pure determination, that told him this was no ordinary person. Edison gave him a shot, not because of his resume, but because of what he was: pure, focused desire.
And this right here, this distinction is everything. Hill is super clear about this. A simple wish, like, I wish I had more money, is totally powerless. A burning desire is completely different. It's a definite, laser-focused goal that becomes a consuming obsession. It's the difference between merely hoping for something and absolutely deciding you are going to have it, no matter what.
Okay, so having a burning desire is the what. But Hill doesn't just leave us there. He then gives us the how. He lays out a concrete 6-step formula to take that desire out of your head and start making it real.
Now, these aren't just feel-good tips. They're very specific instructions. Notice how many times the word definite or exact shows up. An exact amount, an exact date, a definite plan. And step 6, that's the real powerhouse. It's not just about reading the words. It's about seeing, feeling, and believing yourself already there until it feels completely real.
So what's the engine that makes these 6 steps work? It's a principle Hill calls auto-suggestion. Basically, by constantly feeding your subconscious mind what you want, and this is key, mixing that thought with intense emotion and belief, you start to literally reprogram your brain. You're convincing the deepest part of you that your goal isn't just a possibility, it's an inevitability.
Okay, so you've got the burning desire. You've got your definite plan. You're all fired up. But what happens when that plan completely blows up in your face? Hill introduces the next critical piece of the formula by talking about the one thing that stops almost everyone: temporary defeat.
Because let's be real, it probably will. Your first plan might fail, your 5th plan might fail. So, when you're staring at what looks like total failure, what do you do then? Hill answers this with one of the most famous stories in the entire book.
3 feet. That's it. This number represents the tiny, heartbreaking distance that can separate colossal success from giving up entirely. It's a lesson one man, R.U. Darby, learned in the most painful way possible.
So Darby and his uncle get gold fever, they buy all this equipment, and they actually strike gold. But then, just as quickly, the vein of gold ore disappears. They drill, they dig, they find nothing, and they finally quit. They sell all their machinery for pennies on the dollar to a junk man. Well, the junk man brings in an expert who says, these guys just didn't know that the vein is still here. He starts drilling just 3 feet from where Darby stopped and hits one of the biggest gold strikes in Colorado history, pulling out millions.
As you can imagine, Darby learned a lesson he never forgot. Hill uses this story to show us that what we call failure is often just a test. It's this cunning trickster that loves to trip you up right when you're about to succeed. And there's only one way to beat that trickster.
And that brings us to the final major clue: persistence. This is the superpower that keeps your desire from dying out. It's the quality that lets you say, okay, that plan failed, but I didn't fail. I'm just going to make a new plan. After that experience, Darby went on to become a titan in the insurance industry, because you can bet he never, ever stopped 3 feet from gold again.
All right, we've got all the pieces on the board now. We've got desire, the 6 steps to make it real, and the persistence to see it through no matter what. It's time to put it all together and finally reveal Andrew Carnegie's big secret.
First things first, the secret isn't some magic word you can write on a sticky note. It's not a lucky charm. It is a methodical, repeatable process, a formula where every single part is essential and feeds into the others.
It all starts with that burning desire. Remember, not just a wish, but a definite, all-consuming goal that acts as the rocket fuel for this whole journey.
Next, you take that desire and you systematically convert it into unshakable faith. This is a deep-seated belief, built on purpose through autosuggestion, that you will achieve your goal. It's a certainty.
And finally, that faith is backed by unwavering persistence. This is the grit, the relentless force that makes you keep going, that makes you create new plans when old ones fail, driving you forward until that desire becomes your reality.
And there it is. That's the secret. A burning desire converted into unshakable faith and backed by unwavering persistence. This 3-part dynamic process is the success formula that Napoleon Hill spent 2 decades of his life documenting. This is the engine that drives Think and Grow Rich.
Hill's most famous line is truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that. The entire philosophy is built on this idea that everything we see around us, every skyscraper, every company, every invention, started as a thought in someone's mind. So the final question the book leaves us with is a really powerful one. If you have a process this potent, what thoughts are you choosing to build into your reality?